Hello and welcome to Newsmax TV. I'm John Bachman. With us right now from Montgomery, Alabama is Roy Moore. Mr. Moore is a former Chief Justice of the Alabama Supreme Court, and he's currently running for that same position. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you, John. Nice to be with you.
Well, first, congratulations on your recent win in the Republican primary. Most people outside of Alabama probably know you best for the granite monument to the Ten Commandments you installed in the Alabama Judicial Building. Now, a federal judge ordered you to remove that monument. You declined and were eventually removed from office. Will you reinstall the monument if you win this election?
John, what I've said during my campaign is I would not bring the monument back, not because it's illegal to do so, but because it would confuse the real issue. As the judge recognized very clearly, the issue was about the sovereignty of the Almighty God upon whom this nation was founded, and that I will continue to do is recognize that God. So no, I won't bring the monument back, but I will continue to recognize the sovereignty of God.
Well, you are favored to win this election, and if you do win, is there anything you would do differently this time around as the Chief Justice of Alabama?
Well, of course, I'll address the problems at issue. We've got budget problems in the court system, and also problems with judges ruling outside the constitutions they're sworn to uphold. And I think that's a very important problem. We've got that both in the federal courts and the state courts, but we're all sworn to the United States Constitution, and that is the Constitution we're obliged to uphold.
Well, some people have said that positions like Alabama's Chief Justice should be appointed and not elected. And if they are elected, they should be not based on a party affiliation. Do you think the current system in Alabama is the best possible system?
I think that election of judges is the way it should be. I oppose and have always opposed the Missouri plan through appointment of judges. I think the people need to vote on their judges, and I think the system we have in Alabama is just fine.
Well, I do want to get your insight on the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare, as it's also called, in the case before the Supreme Court right now. Given your experience as a judge, how do you think the justices will rule on this case?
I think they'll rule according to the Constitution. I think they'll clearly find the Obamacare law unconstitutional. I think it imposes an unlawful mandate on people, and I think it clearly exceeds the enumerated powers under Article 1 of the United States Constitution. I think it's a violation of the 10th Amendment. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by it to the states are reserved to the states, respectively, or to the people. And I think it's a violation of the 10th Amendment as well.
I've heard that some folks, including some lawyers and some legal experts, argue that from a jurisprudence standpoint, the most conservative thing that the court could do would be to defer to Congress and actually uphold the Affordable Care Act. Do you agree with that?
No, I think the Congress has passed an act which is unconstitutional, and I think that the Supreme Court has every right to declare it unconstitutional. And
let's also talk about something that one of President Obama's campaign advisors said on Meet the Press. He called Mitt Romney, quote, the godfather of Obamacare. Now, Romney has argued that the difference between his plan and President Obama's plan is that Romney's plan is implemented at a state level compared to the federal level. Now, do you agree with Governor Romney that states have a right to impose a health care mandate?
I'm not sure that the states have a right to do that, but there is a difference between state action and the federal action, so I'll defer that to the courts. But I think the United States Congress has no authority to impose the health care bill, Health Care Act, upon the people of this country.
Okay, very good. That's fair enough. I do have one last question for you. I heard you rode your horse to vote in the primary. Do you plan on doing the same thing when you vote in the general election?
Well, I've done that several elections, and I do that because I live quite near the voting booth in the country. I have horses. They're my horses, and that's something we enjoy, my wife and I do. And during a campaign, it's very difficult to do a lot that you enjoy. So we do ride our horses to the election. It's kind of a tradition in our family. All
right, very good. Sounds like an interesting way to get to the polls. Roy Moore is the president of the Foundation for Moral Law, and he's running for Chief Justice of Alabama. For more information, you can go to judgeroymore.org. Mr. Moore, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, sir. Nice to be with you.